Here is the list of books that I read in May. Let's get started. First of all, I read Fluke by Bart Hopkins and David Elliott. Now, this is basically a kind of love story with a little bit of a twist, although I wouldn't really class it as a twist. The main character, who I can't actually remember the name of, which kind of proves that it wasn't actually that good of a book, is a pizza delivery guy, and he meets this girl on one of his deliveries and she unexpectedly asks him out, and then he quits his job there and then and quote unquote falls in love, and it just gets really soppy from then on. It's all honey this and baby that, and it's like, ugh, I just wanted to stick my fingers down my throat the majority of the time. Next is Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs. It revolves around Jacob, who is travelling with his dad to Wales to find an abandoned children's home that his grandpa used to go to when he was younger. Obviously, because it's a children's home and he's not going to go there in his old age, is he? Jacob finds out that this children's home isn't as abandoned as it first seems. This book draws you in from the first page. You are described all of the things that Jacob's grandpa used to say to him when he was younger about all the peculiar children, and these are highlighted by the photographs as well. I mean, the picture on the front here is actually one of the photographs that's in the book, and it's just creepy, and even though the book is fictional, the photos are actually real. They're actually real photographs, and they're all actually indexed in the back of the book what they all are and who they were photographed by. And I think the fact that a fictional story is sided with real photographs makes it that much more believable and makes the fiction seem as though it could be real, even though it's not. I myself believe that if I didn't have the photographs in the book, I wouldn't actually be able to picture some of the peculiar children in the way that it's pictured in the actual photographs themselves. Next, I read The Book of Lost Things by John Connolly. It revolves around a boy called David who's mourning for his mother, who has recently died, and he is going through a lot of different things at the moment, and he just thinks that life is unfair until he stumbles upon a fairy tale world. Now, this book isn't as such a fairy tale as an anti-fairy tale, because it's quite dark in the ways that the fairy tales are actually described, and the characters in this fairy tale world aren't all as obvious as you'd think. It's not all Little Red Riding Hood and Rapunzel and things like that. It's subtler things that you really have to think about to actually know what fairy tales they're actually from in the first place. And as I'm not sure if anyone knows, I'm a big fan of fairy tales and fairy tale retellings and anything to do with that. And the fact that this is an anti-fairy tale story as such, I'd say, I absolutely love that idea, and I just adored this book so much. Next is The Horse and His Boy by C.S. Lewis. Now, this is the third book in the Narnia Chronicles. It seems to be filled with so many different characters, and the setting is more in a desert place than a kind of woodland scenery like the other two. And I found it really refreshing to read, as it was something different and it wasn't the same as the other two, and I really enjoyed it. Next was The Fourth Bear by Jasper Fforde. This is the second book in the nursery crime series, and it was better than the first one. I thought it had a lot more plot and crime scene investigation kind of qualities to it, as I felt that the actual crime was a lot more thought out than Big Over Easy. Even though the Big Over Easy was amazing, I think that this one was better, and I am so glad that I've found Jasper Fforde, as he is turning out to be one of my favourite authors. This book is absolutely hilarious. The next two I read were the second and third books in the Adrian Mole series, and they are The Growing Pains of Adrian Mole and True Confessions of Adrian Albert Mole. The second book in the series is really good. I didn't think it was as good as the first one, because in the first one it's original and it's unique, as in, like, you've never heard of Adrian Mole before, you don't know what he's like, and it's funny and witty. This one is a slight notch down, but it's still funny, but there was still something missing about it. Hilarious to read about the antics of a teenage boy who loves school, family life and things like that, and it's just, I'm finding this series a pleasure to read until I read the third book, which I really didn't like. I got it the right way. No, I don't. It is vaguely in a diary form because of the fact that it's got dates occasionally, but it's more written written in the form of short stories than it is in a diary form, and it just seemed really sporadic. I know that obviously he's older now and this is going from when he's like 18 to 22 and something like that, so you've got to spread it out a bit, but this book is really short. How have you covered that many years in such a short book? And also, this book is even shorter than that because of the fact that it's also got 2 diaries of other people, which I'd admit I didn't read because I really wasn't interested in anyone other than Adrian Mole. The other 2 people, one of them was actually the author of the book, Sue Townsend, but I just don't get it. Why include a diary of the author, and why include a diary of somebody else that is irrelevant to the story? It just seems pointless. If you're going to do that, bring it out in another book or something. I mean, this book, as it was like 69 pages. You can't cover 18 to 22 years of Adrian Mole in about 69 pages. It's just ridiculous. As you can tell, I didn't like this book. The penultimate book I read was The 101 Dalmatians by Dodie Smith. This is a really good book and is nothing like the Disney film at all. In fact, it's probably got a totally different story to the Disney film. Although it was told from the point of view of animals, you still felt all the pain and the love that they felt, and they were just such a lovely bunch of animals. I'm not even joking, like I really felt for them. I love the characterisation, the way the story was told, and I love the way that the animals could actually talk, or talk amongst themselves at least. I found it really interesting the way that the dogs actually referred to the humans as their pets rather than them being the pets of the humans, which I thought was really funny. Last but not least, I read You Had Me at Hello by Mari McFarlane. It revolves around Rachel, who's in her early 30s, and she bumps into Ben, who was her best friend at university and who kind of had a thing for her, and it's a chick lit book about how they meet again. Running alongside this story is also some subplots as well in Rachel's job as a court journalist. So I thought that was a nice balance as well, so it wasn't always about the girl and the boy, it was also about work and everyday life, and I really enjoyed it. It was predictable at the same time as not being predictable, because I knew what was going to happen, but then I wasn't quite sure whether it was going to happen, if that makes sense. And as soon as the book finished, I did not want it to finish. Like, I haven't done that in a long time, and it's one of my favourite books this year, and for a chick lit to be one of my favourite books, especially as a hate chick lit, that is good. So yeah, if you've read any of the books that I've read, please let me know, as I want to discuss books. And on another note, I went to the London Booktube gathering yesterday. It was such an amazing day, and I want to shout out to every single person that came, and you are all absolutely wonderful, and I'm so glad that I've met you all now. It's so weird seeing people that you watch on YouTube in real life. They're not just this bit. People have legs. But yeah, it was really lovely meeting all of you, and I will leave everyone's links in the down bar below, so if you want to go check them out, please do. I've actually got some footage from the gathering, and I'm not quite sure whether to put it in a document your life video or a separate kind of Booktube gathering video. If you've got any suggestions, please let me know, as I really don't know what to do with it. And I will see everyone in my next video, so bye!